In this episode of the Dr. Cliff Show, we are talking all about hearing aid Bluetooth, including the new LE audio Bluetooth that has Auracast. Hey guys, welcome back to the Dr. Cliff Show. I'm Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am joined here once again today by my co-host, Dr. Rachael Cook and Dr. Kelsey Beck. Welcome back to the show, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
So today we're actually talking about a topic that is extremely popular among hearing aid users. It is the topic of Bluetooth. Now, truth be told, when I make videos, a lot of my most popular videos are the ones where I'm talking about the best hearing aids of the year. And I recently made a video talking about this new form of Bluetooth that's hitting the market, and it 3x'd my views from my best hearing aids video. And it's just astronomical growth of interest in Bluetooth and how they work within hearing aids. Which is a little, I guess, it's not depressing, but it's like, it's one of those things where like you start realizing what do people want to learn about? They want to learn about Bluetooth. So that's what we're going to give them. We do have some comments saying that we spend too much time talking about Bluetooth and we should be talking about other things that hearing aids are doing to help people hear better. But you know what? We are audiologists of the people, so we're going to give them what they want.
By the people, for the people, you want Bluetooth, you get Bluetooth.
That's right. We even made our stage blue here for you guys today, which
really
is, I guess,
scene.
always
as long as
blue.
we're not putting like teeth up as well.
So basically, let's just kind of start talking about Bluetooth itself. Bluetooth was actually initially developed back in the 1990s. Originally a Bluetooth Classic connection it was a radio frequency that allowed other wireless devices to communicate with each other to eliminate the need for cables over a short distance. This is really when cell phones were starting to become more of a thing. We didn't have smartphones yet, but the big massive, my first phone was like this massive, it's even bigger than a brick phone. So it's like 4 times the size of a brick phone. You could not fit it in your pocket.
It's like an iPad. You're just walking around.
Yeah,
full iPad.
It's literally full circle. We went from making like really big cell phones, then we made them as tiny as we possibly could. Like they had one that was like this big.
Like in the movie Zoolander. I don't know if you guys saw Zoolander, but it's like this little tiny phone.
Yes. And then now we're like, okay, now we all want bigger screens because now we do the Bluetooth and we have, Netflix and movies and all of the things on the actual phones that we can do. So like my phone is massive compared to even other iPhone users, like because I have the big iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's even crazier when you put a bright color orange case on it.
You know what? I don't lose it nearly as often as I used to, though.
Well, there you go.
I can always see it.
That's fantastic. Now, to date myself a little bit, back in 2012 is when I started grad school, and the first made-for-iPhone hearing aids actually used a Bluetooth low energy signal to communicate with Apple devices. We're talking specifically iPhones and iPads. And I think iPads came around somewhere around there.
I had one in 2013, so it had to be around 2011, 2012, and it was like the first gen, I think. So I'd say maybe 2010 was when
because when did iPhones really? It was like 2007.
iPhones came out in 2007.
Okay, and it was only a couple years after that, so it might have been as early as maybe 2010 or so.
Yeah, it was all around once they came out with one thing, they burst after that because they just kept making more things.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so the first hearing aids that I fit were the Resound Lynx hearing aids. And then I think right after that, I was doing a clinical rotation in a private practice that primarily worked with Starkey. So we had our first individuals coming in to get the Starkey Halo hearing aids that use this Bluetooth low energy to do this direct connection. But for anyone who doesn't really know what Bluetooth is doing with hearing aids, what is it doing?
What a loaded question. What is Bluetooth doing with hearing aids?
I want to make sure I understand in what context you mean. So like for me, like when you ask me that question, Bluetooth with hearing aids is taking phone calls, media, information from the phone, streaming it directly into your ears so you can hear all of that media right into your ears. And ideally, assuming your hearing aids have been set up appropriately, you're also getting all that information at your prescription to be able to hear everything the absolute best you possibly could.
Yeah.
And now you also have the aspect of it also turns your phone into your remote control because this is a little bit before your guys' time, but we actually were fitting people with and giving them a lot of remote controls because they couldn't find the buttons on the back.
Them.
I like the remote controls. I actually have fit several in the last couple of months.
It's getting to the point where some manufacturers are actually doing away with their remote controls because of the fact that there's a smartphone app. But for certain patients, I'm like, give me my remote back.
I would like a remote, yes.
But I do love the app aspect of it, because you're not having to purchase an additional accessory. Everybody has access to, well, mostly everybody has access to a remote control app now if they want it. So that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, and so this Bluetooth low energy connection, but as the name would suggest, the reason that they developed this, and this was actually, the reason why it started with Apple is because there's one operating system for Apple. When you look at Android devices, there's so many different operating systems that they could potentially be using.
It still is difficult for us because different phones operate different ways. And so when we talk about Bluetooth troubleshooting issues, it's like, oh, Apple, I know exactly what's going on here. Android?
Which Android?
Exactly.
Which Android? What model? Where? How old is it? I don't know.
And how does it interact? I literally had, was it called OnePlus or Plus One? Like it's a certain type of Android phone. And I was working with it with a patient yesterday.
The Samsung,
and it's, I don't think it's Samsung. I think
that's
it's
the one I keep hearing with the Plus.
Yeah, well, no, that would be the Samsung Galaxy S23 or S22 Plus. But there's actually like a OnePlus phone is what it's called.
Geez, its own brand?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Oh, here we
We've
go.
got another one to the
I
list
ran
of things to learn.
into some fun issues with that yesterday. But regardless, I mean, the grand scheme of things, initially we had this low energy Bluetooth that was designed to help reduce the battery drain of Bluetooth, because Bluetooth Classic actually uses a lot more battery life. And one of the common characteristics of hearing aids is that they're all not very big anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And so the batteries are not very big.
Yeah.
So this Bluetooth low energy was able to give you that audio streaming, so that wireless signal into both of your ears so you can listen to whatever you want to that's playing off of your smart device at the time. And do it without killing your batteries within a few hours of using them.
Yeah.
And so that was great, but that really alienated a lot of people who use the right type of phone, which is an Android phone.
Okay.
False.
We're going to go that way today,
False.
And so
Here's some fighting words you have here.
And so we ended up, like I did anything with this.
Yeah. I was part of the development crew.
They asked my opinion. They're like, Cliff, what is it that we really need? And I'm like, you know what? I've been working on this Bluetooth codec that we could use for Android users. No, that is clearly not how it happened. So the industry identified that, like, okay, there's actually more people who use Android, at least at the time, there's more people who used Android devices than Apple devices.
I would say arguably too, across the world, right? I mean, because the US is not the only hearing aid market. Across the world, most people do use Android devices. Apple is not the largest, portion of phone usage, actually.
So now that has changed over time. I'm pretty sure that like Apple now has around 50% of the market globally.
It's a pretty even split now,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. Close enough to where they are both considered at the same level as one another,
Yeah.
I would say. And I'd say I see a pretty fair 50-50 split in our office. Maybe it's a little bit more like 60-40, but I'm still seeing plenty of Androids every day.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, totally. And 2018, I believe, is when Sonova released this ability to, actually it was a little bit before that, because they released a horrible hearing aid that was the Audio B Direct.
Oh.
Do you guys remember that hearing aid?
Yes, leave it alone.
You know what? I still have a patient who loves the B Direct. Refuses to upgrade.
It was trying its best at the time.
Listen,
okay.
we're not like, I'm not like picking on it. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt the feelings of the Audio B Direct.
This is true.
And I am, you guys know me, I am a fan of, like, you have to go through certain stages of technological development
Yes.
to develop new, cooler things.
Yep.
And so I want to be sensitive to that and sensitive to the feelings of the Audio B Direct hearing aid. But it would only stream with Bluetooth Classic to one ear.
One ear.
Because that's the limitation of Bluetooth Classic. You can connect up to one device.
Yep.
And so, fortunately, they kept at the technological development, and they eventually developed the Marvel hearing aids that allowed streaming from the phone or tablet or anything that has Bluetooth Classic into one of the ears, and then it would route it over to its buddy.
Yeah. So it didn't come far after that, but I do agree the one ear thing, not great for Bluetooth. I know, I'm thinking of the early 2000s-ish when everyone had those ear Bluetooth translators that they wore for the calls.
They looked like a tooth, yeah.
Yes.
And they wear it all the time.
Yes, yes. And It does work to stream it to only one ear, especially in cases of normal hearing. But when you have hearing loss, we already have a system that is not receiving sound appropriately. You fit them with hearing aids. We really have to take advantage of the hearing in both ears to create this comprehensive picture of sound, especially for individuals with hearing loss. And so streaming into one ear, was it a fantastic feat? Yes. Go Adeo, be direct. But was it going to be a great long-term solution? Absolutely not, because you really need both ears. And that's why a lot of people with hearing loss, when they don't have hearing aids yet, prefer to put their phone on speaker because it gets a little bit louder, but it's also going to both. They're not having to use just the hearing in one ear or the other. So I'm glad we're in both ears now.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that I liked the most in 2018 when these Phonak Adeo Marvel hearing aids, and actually Unitron came out with hearing aids right around the same time that did the same thing, is that it not only gave you access to an iPhone and an iPad, you could actually connect to any type of smart device. Yeah. So, it could be an Android, it could be Apple, a smart device, but you could also connect up to laptops, which was a limitation with the Bluetooth Low Energy, because not every laptop, and even the MacBooks,
even still,
you couldn't do it.
It is now.
It is now. But
that's
a recent generation.
The
newest
chip.
of the devices,
the M2 chip.
So
whatever.
that's great. So at least they're progressing with that. And now at the end of the day, it might not matter as we get further into this podcast here, but that was a major step up because it opened up the door for more Bluetooth for a lot more people, because I was probably responsible for selling hundreds of iPhones between the time.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Because it was a good 4-year time span of you want to be able to do this, you got to get an iPhone. And I'm an Android user, and I'm telling you to give up your Android to go get an iPhone, which is sacrilegious.
Well, even now, I even to this day, if I know from a hearing perspective that someone is going to do much better with a made-for-iPhone device over a made-for-any phone device, from purely being able to just hear and exist in the world, I've had people go out and buy the appropriate phone to be able to connect to that made-for-iPhone device because it just worked better. They're like, nope, we're just going to switch it on over because it just works better.
Yep.
And it still makes sense. When we think about, and I don't think a lot of people think about this initially when they're treating their hearing loss, but the idea of streaming audio into your ears is not something that you feel like you were missing out on initially. You're just feeling like you're not able to join conversation, you're having trouble in background noise, soft talkers, it's horrible, you can't hear them. But when you start giving them a taste of the direct audio streaming on phone calls and other media, they're like, holy cow, this is the sound quality of this is impeccable.
You can't go back.
They get spoiled.
And you really can't go back.
And sometimes they do come in and they already say, I have trouble hearing here and here and here, but man, when I put my Bose headphones on, I hear that great. Or I got a set of TV ears and man, that makes TV watching incredible. And so they might say, oh, I'm not really interested in Bluetooth hearing aids, but then they'll say those things. And I'm like, you don't know you're interested in Bluetooth hearing aids, but wait until I get you started.
Yeah, it's almost like you get your little devious cap on.
I do.
Let me prove to you how much you're going to like me right now.
Yeah. Well, the fun part is that now, and I know that you're getting here, is that Bluetooth connectivity comes standard in nearly all makes and models. Now, the smaller the size of the hearing aid, we start losing that Bluetooth capability just because of battery drain and size to be able to fit that. But now, if you're fitting a receiver and canal device, which is arguably the most popular hearing aid on the market, it doesn't matter if you want Bluetooth or not. Your hearing aids are going to come with that capability, and it's whether or not we enable it and turn it on for transmission that...
Yeah, you can be in any technology level too. You can be in the most premium, you can be in the basic.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was do you want to upgrade your hearing aid technology so it has the Bluetooth, or do you want to stay in the lower levels?
I'm actually shocked that they didn't keep it set up that way.
Yeah.
So
where lower technology levels didn't have that feature. You had to go to a higher level to get Bluetooth connectivity.
So initially I was also kind of surprised, but then the more I think about it, I think from a programming standpoint, I actually think that might have been something they did actually for providers. Because from our perspective, we have Bluetooth in a hearing aid. We don't have to hook you up with all kinds of cables to your ears and have all these things hanging off of you to be able to just connect to the hearing aids.
That's a great point.
It makes it for us a lot easier. So I actually think that was less for consumers, actually more for the providers.
Dang it.
For a purely selfish reason. I'm just like, oh yeah, I would much prefer to have a wireless hearing aid that uses Bluetooth for programming standpoint. Plus, we used to have like 18 different programmers for every brand with all the cables, and you'd had like special closets that you'd keep all of them organized and all that.
Well, and to be fair, we still have all of our boxes that have all of the different cables and cords to connect every generation, just to make sure we don't, run into a hearing aid that's 14 years old.
Because we will. Because we will.
And we
just had one yesterday.
Yep. See, there it is.
Yeah.
There we go.
Had one yesterday, and I literally could not connect to it with the neck loop. It was like cutting in and out, and I'm just like, I hate my life.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Which we'll be talking about neck loops coming up here as well, because that's a big part of Bluetooth history too.
For sure. So now in 2018 is when we had that Bluetooth Classic connection come out, and so basically everyone who had a made for iPhone hearing aid, they're like, do I really still have to keep an iPhone, or can I switch to an Android phone like they would prefer and be able to still stream, right?
Yeah.
And so what they came up with is that basically Google, or the hearing aid industry essentially worked with Google to develop the ASHA Bluetooth protocol.
Yeah.
So that allowed made for iPhone hearing aids to connect to other than iPhones, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the ASHA protocol? How much do you love that? I mean,
I love it when it works.
I got no comment.
It works.
So here's the thing about ASHA Bluetooth protocol. For whatever reason, there are some people who have Androids and a made for iPhone hearing aid and never, not once, run into a single issue with their Bluetooth.
True.
Never.
True.
And then there are some people who day one I set up with the ASHA Bluetooth protocol, and for no rhyme or reason, they'll have the exact same phone as the last person who didn't have any issues. And they will have issues day after day after day after day. So I really don't know why there's a huge difference and discrepancy. Just same make and model of phone, just two different ones. But when it does work, I think it works very, very well.
My biggest
gripe
issue with the ASHA protocol is, especially when they had started putting it out there, right? They were saying, okay, great, you're made for iPhone hearing aids like Oticon, like Widex, all these brands. Look, we can hook up with Androids now. And it's going to be about 8 of them. And it's going to be 2 from this brand and 1 from this brand, and only the newest out of this brand. I couldn't keep track. Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and a patient would have an Android, and I'd be in my head going, I want to set you up with a made for iPhone hearing aid. Let me see if your phone's compatible. And I'm digging on the internet. Where can I find this list of these 7 devices that make the cut?
And then they have asterisks next to them that say like, but it can't do this with,
can't do that, or it must be upgraded to the latest software, and I was just like, or, this is too much. Let's just put you in a Bluetooth Classic. Let's just put you in a Phonak or a Unitron. And, depending on what they need out of their hearing aids, I'm always going to pick the hearing first. Do they have everything that they need to hear their best in day-to-day life and in conversation? But let's say that their job, a huge part of it is being on the phones all day long. Like, we can't deny that Bluetooth streaming is also a huge part of that being an accessibility feature for them.
Sure.
So my biggest issue with it was just, you can hook up if you got everything perfect for these exact devices. And even then, it's either going to work 100% of the time, or
it's going to be
a lot of tricky.
Yeah, and even the connection of it was different than the made for iPhone connection. So instead of going through the accessibility tab to the hearing devices and pairing that way, you actually have to download the app of whatever that manufacturer is, and then you literally connect it through the app.
Through the app, which was really confusing.
Yeah, and so and again, so like a lot of patients who might have been used to their iPhones and how you do these pairings with hearing aids, now they're going a completely different route to do it, which, like you said, can be confusing. Now, I think that now that there was at that time 3 different Bluetooth protocols to use, I think the hearing aid industry identified that this was going to be a problem, because literally back in 2015, which is only, a year after the made for iPhone Bluetooth Low Energy came out, they were already starting to work with the Bluetooth Special Interest Group to develop a more universally connectable form of Bluetooth called LE Audio. Now, not to be confused with Bluetooth Low Energy, this is LE Audio Bluetooth, and it affords a couple of additional benefits. And I would say first and foremost is the universal connectability of this form of Bluetooth to eventually the point where Every single hearing aid will use this form of Bluetooth, and all the other devices that you want to connect with will also use this form of Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So it makes our job a lot more about what's the best hearing aid for you, and then we just know that we're going to get the one that has the wireless connectivity that you're looking for.
Yeah. I often think about a lot of the issues that we run into on a day-to-day basis just with hearing aids themselves or programming or whatever it may be. And anytime I'm super frustrated with something, I go, it's not going to be like this for much longer. Because every couple of years it changes and it improves so much that every time I'm like, well, in 2 years, this won't even be an issue. We won't even be using this programmer.
Yeah.
We're all going to be on LE audio. Like, it doesn't last, your issues don't last too long before they are solved in this space. So it's exciting.
Yeah, totally. And so what are some of the other benefits that we get with the LE Audio Bluetooth that we were not getting from the other 3 forms?
So one of the things that we'll get with this LE audio is going to be very helpful in large public venues and and public spaces. So for right now, whenever you go to somewhere, you're hoping that they're going to have what's called a telecoil loop system, and you're going to hope your hearing aids have a telecoil in them with a telecoil program activated, and then that would make you be able to take any audio that's coming from said public venue and go right into your ears. With this adaptation of Bluetooth, we will be able to have this in the hearing aids you can pull from this venue, kind of like, you're pulling Wi-Fi from a public venue at this point.
Yeah.
And you can pull that audio directly into your ears. And on top of that, that's not even just great for hearing aid users, but for other people who also have other, AirPods and things like that. We're going to get those in those kinds of consumer electronics as well. So like if I go to, I don't know, like a play at the theater, for example, and they have this now hooked up, I could even just wear my headphones and still get all of that audio from the musical directly into my ears, and that would be such a great way to experience a show as well.
Yeah.
So lots of really cool things in that respect too.
Yeah, and that's actually called Auracast. And the thing that I find most interesting about Auracast that I didn't think about till I was watching an interview of someone from, I think it was Sabine, I can't remember his first name, but he's from the Bluetooth Special Interest Group. And he was talking about, from an accessibility standpoint, it's not just that you can stream the audio of the musicians on the stage. It's like, you know what? I actually want to hear more of the vocals. So I'm going to tap into the vocal stream. Or I want to hear more of the guitar. I want to tap into the guitar stream. Or I actually have normal hearing, but I have no vision. And so when I am in a movie, I want to actually tap into the audio description of what's happening on the screen.
Oh my
so
gosh.
it's not just that you have one signal like you have with the hearing loop right now. You could have multiple different transmissions of different aspects. And he was already talking about the idea that like these venues are already asking about, well, can we have like 4 different streams, and we can have like, this is kind of like the descriptive audio of it, this is kind of like the vocals of it and dialogue of it, this is more the music of it. Like you could literally separate out all of these different things into a separate transmission.
Whoa,
That
is
would be
incredible.
phenomenal. Yes.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. That's really, really cool.
So now we're not just talking about accessibility for hearing loss. We're talking about like accessibility for everybody.
all. Yeah.
And like you were saying, like you don't have to have hearing aids for this. You're going to have Bluetooth headphones,
Yep.
Bluetooth earbuds that you can tap directly into these different, Auracast transmitters
Yeah.
that are going to be out there.
You know what I think about? I think about being in my undergrad classes, and I went to San Diego State, and some of those classrooms seated 500 people, seriously. And you'd always get to class and you'd get a good seat, and then you'd have the group behind you that just decides while the professor's speaking and lecturing that they're just gonna chat about their day, their weekend, and the classroom is so big that the professor can't moderate everybody's behavior, right? But I'm thinking about the fact of that not being an issue, because every single person in that classroom would be able to pull their AirPods out, put them in, and now you have these noise cancellation AirPods that are streaming only what the teacher is saying directly into your ears. That's a huge accessibility advancement for not even individuals with hearing loss, but just beyond. I mean, there's so many applications for this, it's actually brain melting.
Yeah, right now, if you wanted to do that, you would literally have to go to the accessibility office of your school, get whatever assistive listening devices they have, which is going to be something that connects with a hearing aid, and then you're going to have to go get hearing aids to do the streaming. Yeah, either that
or it's over the ear or in the ear headphones that aren't yours, and you got this transmitter box that has to sit on the table, so you're kind of just like outed in front of everyone of, oh, she probably has an issue hearing the teacher or something. Like, it's not very discreet. So it's about to be so discreet. It's about to be, everyone's going to be doing it.
And this is why I think I think the adoption of LE audio with Auracast is going to be so much quicker than what we saw and that we still run into with issues with hearing loops that are installed. There's an expense that goes along with both of them, whether you're going to have an Auracast transmitter or you're going to have a hearing loop installed. But I can say that having a transmitter set up and plugged in and it's emitting, you maybe have to have several of them, right? But the cost of that, I believe, and the actual installation of it is going to be so much less burdensome to a public venue that will increase the uptake of it. Not to mention, you're not just serving the hearing loss community anymore. Now you're serving all consumers who are like, I want that feature to go to your sports bar so I can listen to my football game and not no sound or any audio on whatever's being shown, right? Now we also start looking at the audio sharing aspect of LE audio Bluetooth, where you could actually play something from your phone, and I'm like, well, I want to hear that too because you're rocking out to some Taylor Swift, and you know I'm a huge Swiftie, right?
Huge.
And so we could do that as well.
Yep.
So there's a couple interesting applications with that.
And I think Apple has something similar now, but to be able to do that from whatever phone that you have, right? And again, it's really breaking down this access barrier that we currently have from one system to another.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think of like flying on an international flight, or maybe not even international. You're just on a flight, you're sitting next to your spouse, and you're watching a movie, and you want to watch the same movie instead of you both watching the same movie right next to each other. One's a little further ahead, and you know what happens? You end up looking over like, oh crap, like, oh, I know that's...
My sister and I just
Or you see their reactions.
Yeah, my sister and I recently just did it, and so we were like, we tried to each press play at the same time and it wasn't working, so one of us then like hit play at the same time because like you can meter your own. We ended up getting it pretty close, but still there's always that itty bit of
That's
little
right,
drag.
and it's so annoying. And so it'd be much better if you could just tap into the same audio. You're watching on a tablet, and sharing the tablet.
Or even still too, I mean, I could even see an application too between the two where, not only is it going to be like for audio, but utilizing this same kind of tech for, mirroring screens at some point as well. I mean, the applications of something like this are really endless as we like progress even further.
They really are.
Absolutely. Now, I would say the other benefit that we have is lower latency. So when you start looking at Bluetooth Classic right now, the latency of that is about 100 to 200 milliseconds. Not very long, okay?
Not long.
The latency of LE audio is down at around, I believe it's between 10 and 30 milliseconds. So really, really low. Which, for different applications of like gamers who are streaming audio, online when they're playing these games, potentially from a time perspective, you want to have, the ability to hear instantaneously, right? But I think the thing that's even, that most people will resonate most with is that the old SBC codec that is used in Bluetooth Classic requires a lot more battery life, and it gives you a certain audio quality when you're doing it. Now, the LE audio, the LC3 codec, which is the new and improved codec for that, actually gives you superior sound quality based on what the Bluetooth Special Interest Group is reporting, and it does it at a lower bit rate, meaning that it preserves your battery life. So you get a higher quality stream, and you can do that stream for much longer. And like we said before, with hearing aid users, having lower battery drain is a huge benefit.
It's a huge benefit. I actually seldom ever run into battery life issues from an individual that's not Bluetooth streaming. I really can't remember the last time someone said, oh man, this battery drain, and they weren't hooked up to something. And honestly, a lot of individuals, I have to counsel on this pretty frequently, because they'll say, days that I'm not hooked up to my phone, I'm getting through the full day. And nowadays, most of the hearing aids can get through a full day even with a considerable amount of streaming. But it still does come up depending on how much streaming that you're doing. And it just eats that battery life up very, very quickly. And so then you have these cool hearing aids that can hook up via Bluetooth, and you can do all this streaming. But maybe you're left with the devices powering down around 9 o'clock or so. Well, if you're up until 11, then it's going to be great to have Bluetooth that does not take the same amount of battery and drain the battery as quickly.
Well, and too, I mean, I have, patients who are, they work from home, but they like to have music going while they're working and things like that, and they've had to stop streaming it and deal with the lesser audio quality because it's not going directly into their ears at their prescription. They're playing it, more out in the room, and then there's acoustics to deal with and a lot of other things. And to be able to have them be able to listen to their music in their background while they're doing their work at the levels that they like to hear it at, because we've gone through into the software and have manipulated every single frequency so they get the audio quality that they want out of it, and then to be able to do that all day and still, go out to dinner, later with their friends without having to put their hearing aids in the charger for a little while.
Yeah.
Same thing with cross users, especially within the rechargeable camps, you're already draining so much battery just because you're streaming from one ear to the other at all times. Then you want to also connect your phone to it. Well, that's going to decrease your battery life even more. If we could take that element out, suddenly we're looking at longer battery life for cross users as well.
Right.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a Dr. Cliff show if we didn't talk about the negatives as well, because, we're very pessimistic people around here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Realists.
Yeah, we're realists. So, but people need to know the potential drawbacks of some of these things. Now, I have patients who come in and they're like, Cliff, I'm really not getting the audio benefit or the benefit hearing-wise that I thought I was going to get from streaming into my ears. Music sounds flat, right? Or the phone calls aren't as clear as I would like them to be.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things that we have to make sure that people understand, is that you can't just say, oh, we're turning on Bluetooth and everything's going to be perfect. You actually have to dial it in. And you alluded to this a little bit in that last comment you just made.
Yeah, so for example, just last week, I was fitting someone. We were changing from one manufacturer to another. The manufacturer we changed into allows me to go in and really manipulate every single frequency for that stream. And we discovered by connecting the hearing aids, disconnecting, connecting to the phone, playing music, connecting back up and making individual tweaks, where exactly he was missing for his desire of audio quality. He was missing a lot of the bass tones. He was missing a lot of the mid tones for him to get this fullness of sound. And at one point, I even had to switch out the ear coupling inside the hearing aid, so the little earpiece, the dome that goes into his ear, so that we could actually keep more of those bass tones in. I also then had to redo all of my prescription matching for his regular everyday listening, because I changed everything about how the acoustics of the ear canal are, because when you have an open ear canal, where I originally started for optimal hearing, right, all of that good bass sound just leaks right out of the ear canal, right? But by closing it up, I can trap it into the ear canal more to give him better bass, but then I also had to make sure that the rest of the hearing was also manipulated in such a way that he's not getting, over amplification now.
Right, yeah, Bluetooth streaming, we'll often have patients who do have more open fit domes in their ears, right? And we do that because they have good low pitch or low frequency hearing that starts to drop off in those higher pitches. Well, the issue is I'll have some patients come in who say, yeah, I take a call through the hearing aids and it sounds like this, but then when I put my AirPods in, man, that's great. And a lot of that comes from the fact that those AirPods are plugging your ears up. And so when she's talking about switching out the coupling to a different dome, it is to trap in more of that bass that was leaking out. But a lot of times we can actually just go into the program settings on the hearing aids and boost that bass up specifically just for streaming to the point where you might even not need to switch to a more closed off dome. We might be able to just kind of overdrive those low pitches enough to give you that fullness without.
And that's great if you have a hearing aid that allows you to do that. Some hearing aids don't even let you do that, right? We're talking about how much customization do you have of the audio signal. Some brands will give you a ton of customization, and some will be like, it just goes in based off of what I have you programmed for your regular hearing.
Yeah. Well, and that's so hard because, regular hearing is designed for speech appreciation. It's not designed for music appreciation. And so when I'm trying to deliver speech, more often than not, we're really focusing on clarity, crispiness, right? But that can often make music sound very tinny and not as full and elaborate. We want to make sure that we can accomplish both. So, having a manufacturer that gives us more control over that audio quality is heads over tails fantastic.
Yeah.
So you got to get the programming right, and you have to get the coupling right, either a custom custom ear mold with the proper venting or the proper dome that can trap in these low and mid frequencies better than what an open dome can typically do. We also have another limitation, which is we're starting to see some hearing aids roll out like the Resound Nexia, like the Signia Pure Charge and Go IX devices that either have or will be future compatible with LE audio and Auracast, but we kind of have a chicken and the egg problem going on right now.
Yeah, which is that they're compatible for it, but it's not widely available. So it's like, guess what? Your hearing aid has this feature. Great. Where can I use it? Nowhere. But it's coming. It will come. But at the moment, it's chicken and the egg problem of we need this technology to come out, but it's no point of this technology coming out if there's nothing that's compatible with it, and vice versa. It's going to have to all roll out over a couple, year or two time span together.
Well, and I even last week had someone who is putting off hearing treatment to wait for the manufacturer that I had recommended that will fit his hearing loss perfectly to release something that will be compatible with this next generation of Bluetooth, which creates a whole other problem because now we're talking about, potentially increasing rates of cognitive decline and increased risk of dementia and all these other negative ramifications that come from not treating a hearing loss as early as possible. And so there is that problem as well. And I think that we're going to see that more often because the conversation I had to have was, I completely understand you want, this technology. We're still looking at a few years before, even if you have the technology, for it to even be applicable to your life. And by that time, you'll probably be ready to upgrade to the next couple of generations anyhow. It doesn't necessarily make sense to wait 5 years for all of this technology to be available when you need hearing treatment now. And so I think that's one of the other problems that we're going to run into as things roll out very slowly is people are going to be waiting until they can get the thing that they think is going to be the next big thing, even though right now they need help and it's not going to make a difference for at least 3 to 5 years, I would say, before this is widely rolled out.
This is especially a problem when a particular hearing aid that has the feature isn't the right hearing aid for the person from a hearing perspective.
Exactly.
Like it depends on their overall wants and needs, not just the I want LE audio so I can do Auracast at some point in the future when it rolls out. It's like, well, it would be a better idea in the immediate term to fit you with the hearing aid that is most appropriate with your hearing loss. And if down the road they end up upgrading and having an LE audio option, we can upgrade you at that time. Because it's important to understand that if you don't at least have Bluetooth 5.2 in your hearing aids, they are not upgradable. Like it's a literal hardware change that will have to happen, which means you have to buy a new hearing aid. Now, if it has 5.2, there is the potential of a firmware upgrade that you could do that is essentially a digital upgrade. Whether it would cost money or whether it'd be free, who knows, right? But I think that is something that people have to think about is that, am I going to be willing to sacrifice hearing my best in order to get this feature if the most appropriate hearing aid doesn't have that particular capability?
And we see this in a lot of different areas, especially with, I think of patients who are most definitely cochlear implant candidates, right? And they're very close to making that decision of moving forward with cochlear implantation, but they're holding out hope for hair cell regeneration therapies. And so we look at how they're performing with hearing aids currently, and they're really not doing well. And we say again and again, you're a cochlear implant candidate, you're a cochlear implant candidate, and they want to wait for the hair cell regeneration. And it's one of those situations where it's like, are you willing to forego the hearing that you could have to wait for this potential? Right?
That may not come in a timely manner either.
And we know that low energy audio is coming. So it's not as much.
We also don't know how stable it's going to be initially.
But we don't know, right? It's going to be a new technology, and with new technology releases, we all know in this room, it's generally, I don't want to call it not a smooth start, but there's
a learning curve to it.
It's a learning curve to it, right?
Well, they always say too, like when you buy a new car, right? You don't want to buy like the first model that's ever created of the new car because it usually has a lot of kinks to it to get all the kinks out. So you want to wait to the second generation. Like that's been a saying since probably before I was even born, right? So there are going to be glitches that happen with it, as there is for everything. I mean, even Bluetooth Classic has been around for a long time, and we still run into glitches with Bluetooth Classic all of the time.
Yeah.
So I think that there is that element to it as well, is that we don't really know what it's going to look like once it does arrive, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about, now that people have an understanding of the 4 different types of Bluetooth, all right? So it's test time. We have Bluetooth Low Energy, we have Bluetooth Classic, we have the ASHA Bluetooth protocol, and we have LE Audio Bluetooth. Yeah. So those are the 4. 3 of the 4 will eventually go away, I believe. It's going to take some time for that to happen. We're going to work through some things with LE Audio, but I truly believe that LE Audio is going to be revolutionary when it comes to hearing aid technology and all the things that it's going to let you be able to do from an accessibility standpoint and hopefully stability standpoint that a lot of people run into now. Because my friend Dr. David DeCreek out in California, if you know David DeCreek, he'll do Bluetooth with his patients, but he's like, this is like the worst thing, because we turned from 100% of our time treating hearing loss to 50% of our time treating hearing loss, 50% of our time troubleshooting Bluetooth-related issues.
Being IT technicians. Yes, I have patients mention it all the time. They literally say, because, I'll take their phone, do all the pairing and all this stuff, and they're like, wow, did you go to school for that too? And I'm like, I should have, because this comes up daily, hourly, so often.
Well, and I'll do all of it like upside down too, because I'm trying to like show them how to do it.
Me too.
I was even trying to find a setting on my phone a few days ago, and I couldn't find it until I turned my phone upside down, because I'm so used to now looking at iPhones upside down.
That's so true. Patients will literally turn the phone around to be polite, so you can see it, and I'm like,
I have no idea what I'm doing right side up.
I've already got the routine.
They'll make a comment like, oh man, you're so good at this, and I'm like, man, it's almost like I do it for a living, right?
Exactly. Now, it's good for the economy, because we've literally had to hire staff members who primarily work with Bluetooth troubleshooting, so we don't have to as audiologists. But audiologists like David DeCreek, he's a single provider clinic, no support staff, so he has to take the brunt of all of that. And I will say that certain hearing aid manufacturers are better and more stable with their Bluetooth than others. So you can definitely run into more issues if you're working with one of these brands that is like, not so great.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing too that I get a lot of questions about the difference between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Like, how many times a week do you guys think that you're explaining the difference between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi? Because it has to
not happening much anymore.
Really?
A few years ago, that was a talk track I had memorized. But these days,
it's getting better.
Most people have a grip of Wi-Fi these days.
Yeah.
I will say this though, is that
like,
some people think that their Bluetooth's not working because they're not connected to the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Right.
And it's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Like those are 2 mutually exclusive things.
Yeah.
Or like when you tell them that you can put your phone on airplane mode on the plane and it will still stream to your hearing aids because the Bluetooth will still stay active, I promise, and they like don't believe me.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those people going on airplane mode, there's a problem there. Like you shouldn't do that.
When you're on an airplane, you're supposed to be on an airplane.
And you're supposed to, but I'm a rule breaker, so I don't.
You're going by the I love a good should
motto. You think the plane's going to go down because I got my Bluetooth still on, or my Wi-Fi still on?
Well, they have Wi-Fi on the plane now.
Exactly. Like, I want to tap into the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to follow the rules.
I know.
Come on.
Okay, sorry. Like, we're trailblazers here, right? We got to, anyway. So the funny thing here is that we sometimes get patients who come in who are like, I don't need that. I don't need Bluetooth, right? And so I actually had a patient just this last week who came in for her fitting. And she was wearing like 2010 Oticon hearing aids, so didn't have any Bluetoothing capabilities. They had neck loops and stuff like that back in the day where you could at least remotely connect with a phone, but no direct connectivity, and she was not using any type of streaming into her old hearing aids. She came in for her fitting, and I'm like, hey, we're going to get you set up with your Bluetooth connection with your smartphone because you do have a smartphone. And she's like, I don't think I need that. I'm like, well, just humor me. We're going to set it up. We'll demo it here in the office. If you're like, you really don't like it, we'll just take it off. So we set it up, and I had her daughter literally call her from out in the hallway of the office. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can hear her so clearly. Wait, can you hear that? I'm like, I can't hear it. That's literally going from your phone into your ears. That's why it's so clear. She's like, oh my gosh, I haven't been able to hear on the phone like this in forever because she's had a hearing loss for like 30 years. And so she's like, okay, like I think this is pretty cool. I'm going to use this. So 2 days later, she's like, well, because of all of this cool functionality, she's like, I want to go get the newest, latest, and greatest like titanium iPhone 15. So she goes and she gets that. But what happens when you do that?
You got to repair
everything.
Right. And so what happens in the interim if they're literally brand new to this and they have never been told or instructed how to do it? Panic mode.
And then they call us.
And they call us and like, hey, I just got a new iPhone. Something disastrous has happened. They transferred over all of my stuff into the new iPhone, but now the Bluetooth streaming doesn't work. And it's like, you didn't even care about Bluetooth literally 3 days ago.
People get spoiled. I mean, seriously, the quality is fantastic. So much so that, similar thing, people come in, they don't really think they need it. Great. Now they're watching movies and things on their phone because they're like, well, I can hear that so much better. I'm like, boy, do I have something for you, because one of the things that Bluetooth also really created was the ability to give us access to more accessories. Probably the most popular one being the TV streamers.
Yeah.
And that's, I think all of the manufacturers have one where you just connect this itty bitty little box to the back of your TV. Guess what? Now that TV audio, without interrupting anybody else's audio in the room, goes right into your ears, just like it does when you're streaming a video from your phone. And now you can also watch TV with your friends, family. You get direct stream. Everybody else is very, very happy as well.
And it's even better than like the TV ears that people would use, because those are not customized to your exact hearing loss. And you can stream the audio from the TV at your exact prescription. And anyone who struggles with dialogue on TV and they're not able to hear certain actors because of the tone of their voice, like now you're like, holy cow, I can literally hear everything. And then they want their hearing aids to work exactly like that when they're in these live situations with horrible acoustics, which is not possible at this point.
No. Yeah, we can't fight physics, friends. Can't fight physics.
So good news is for that particular patient is that she is now happily connected up with her new iPhone and streaming audio, and I'm betting that when I see her next, it's going to show 50% of her time is spent streaming audio because it is so clear and life-changing.
Yeah.
And just think of the amount of people out there who have no idea how beneficial Bluetooth would be with their hearing aids, because they either didn't want it activated or they're still hanging on to their hearing aids that are pre-2014, thinking that there's no significant advancements in hearing aids to justify the upgrade.
Well, the other thing too is that we've talked a lot about smartphones in general, but I also have, because we do have hearing aids that will connect via Bluetooth Classic, you can still connect like a flip phone that has Bluetooth capability to your hearing aids as well. So like, you don't even have to be someone who wants to listen to music, watch TV, listen to podcasts, and you don't have to do any of that. If you just want your phone calls and you have a flip phone, you can probably still connect to your hearing aids as well. So like there is a solution out there for pretty much everybody at this point, as long as your phone has Bluetooth capability. And if you don't know if your phone does, take it to your audiologist or take it to the Verizon store or AT&T or whatever you get your phone carrying things from. They will tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. We give Bluetooth a hard time sometimes as audiologists because, yes, there are glitchy things that can happen with it. You just have to roll with them and figure out the individual's phone, how is it going to interact. My biggest issue is not that Bluetooth has glitchy aspects to it. Any type of new technology and new implementation of technology will have some issues. I just want those issues to be predictable. So if I know that, like, okay, there is the potential for this issue and here's what we do to mitigate the risk of that becoming an issue, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
But I would say this, having fit one of the first type of made for iPhone hearing aid with an actual iPhone, I can tell you that technology has greatly improved since then. I mean,
so much.
It's unbelievable. I didn't even know what the heck I was doing back in the day. I didn't even get a smartphone until 2017. When did you guys get smartphones?
Before you.
Definitely way before you.
Way before you.
Yeah, so I was a late adopter to the whole smartphone technology thing, but I can sympathize, or rather, I can relate to people who delay getting new technology because they want it to be proven, or maybe that they don't see what the value of it is. But now that I have a smart device, I literally could not go back.
Yeah.
And just to set the record straight, I own an iPhone and an Android because I have to use the iPhone for reviewing different products, but my daily use phone is still the Android.
And yet we're all begging you to switch it.
Yeah, I'm just the guy who ruins it for everybody.
Yes, you ruin the group chat.
Yeah.
You ruin the group chat for us.
That's terrific. Well, hey, I think this has been a very fun conversation with Bluetooth. I'm sure that we'll get more conversations in specifically about LE audio once we start seeing how it's actually working inside of the clinic.
Right.
But if you guys want to make sure that you're staying tuned to the channel, make sure that you hit the like button to let us to support us in what we're doing here, and hit that subscribe button with notification bell so you never miss any of our newly released videos. And as always, we'll see you next time.